This is the iPhone 12, one of four in Apple's newest lineup of phones. Now, for the majority of the people looking to enter the realm of Apple, this is a no-brainer, right? I mean, you get all the bells and the whistles of a high-end flagship without having to break too much into your bank, although it's still a pretty hefty investment. But let's just see how good this phone really is. So, welcome back to my channel, the home of everything art and tech. My name is Prashil, and today I'm going to be giving my review on the iPhone 12. Now, here's the thing. I've been using this phone for about a month now, and I gotta say, it's the best value for money when it comes to the overall Apple experience. For anyone looking to get into the Apple ecosystem, I'd say this is a good start, but I want to share my experience, the good and the bad, and so that hopefully you can come to your own conclusion about whether or not this phone is for you. So let's get into the video. Alright, to start off with the design, I gotta say that I am a fan of this refreshed design. The whole flat boxy look, which sort of pays homage to the iPhone 4 and 5, which I was also a fan of. So when it comes to this design, I think that they've knocked it out of the park here. And honestly, it makes the phone feel super sturdy and almost kind of like a tank. So thumbs up for that, Apple. Alright, so the 12 specs are as follows. It's got a weight of about 164 grams. The dimensions are 146.7 by 71.5 by 7.4 millimeters. And the display size itself is 6.1 inches. So it's not the biggest phone on the market. Now the resolution of the screen itself is 1770 by 2532 with a refresh rate of 60 Hz. And the pixel density is 460 pixels per inch. And the chipset we're rocking is the A14 Bionic with 4 gigs of RAM, and there are 3 storage options when it comes to the iPhone 12. You've got 64 gigabytes, 128, and 256. The model you see here is 128 gigabytes. I highly recommend that you go for this one. Do not even think about the 64 gigabytes because in this day and age, it's just not enough. Now moving on to the cameras. Alright, so the camera setup on the iPhone 12 is a pretty basic dual camera setup. You've got a 12 megapixel main shooter with a 12 megapixel ultra wide. And as you can see, you've got the flash. Now we'll get into more of that in a bit, but right now I just want to talk about the battery capacity. Now the iPhone 12 features a 2815 milliamp hour battery, which honestly, in today's day and age, isn't the greatest capacity for an iPhone, or for any phone, I'd say, at this point in time. We'll get into that a little bit more later, but right now I want to talk about how the hardware actually performed on a day-to-day basis. Now the phone itself runs buttery smooth. I've actually had no problems with any kind of animation lag whatsoever. It's quite great actually, I'm not gonna lie. And you're able to kind of get in and out of apps without any actual lag or any stutters, which I'm really impressed with. Now the fluidity of this phone is to be expected, partly due to the new A14 Bionic chip and partly due to Apple's excellent software optimization, which by the way takes a few days to fully optimize to your needs. And I will say that gaming is not a problem either with this phone, and while performance may be good, it is important to note that the 4 gigabytes of RAM, which isn't really that much in today's day and age, does put this phone at a disadvantage. Apps which are CPU and RAM heavy will not actually be running in the background and may need to be reloaded every time you go back into them. This is something even Apple's excellent software optimization and the efficiency of the A14 Bionic chip can't exactly solve, because sometimes you just need that extra physical RAM, which is why I think that if that's something that you really care about, then the iPhone 12 Pro may be the one to go for. Now the screen is sharp and has good contrast, and while vibrant, isn't the brightest screen you can get, and outdoor visibility can sometimes be a problem. Now this screen could definitely, and I mean definitely, benefit from a 120 Hz refresh rate, or even 90 for that matter. But until Apple decides that that's what the standard is, it could be a while. And I honestly feel that this is probably one of the biggest disadvantages of the new lineup of Apple phones. The camera setup on the iPhone 12 doesn't appear to be much of an upgrade when you just look at the sensors. I mean, there's still the same wide camera, which most of you would call just a regular sensor, and the ultra-wide snapper that allows you to zoom out when you want to get more scenery or more people in the frame. The overall capability of these sensors has been improved though, with the wide 12 megapixel sensor now coupled with a f1.6 aperture, for what Apple says is improved low light photography compared to the 2019 iPhone 11. Now the results, in my opinion at least, do bear out the claim. Low light performance is improved a touch, and for the brighter shots you get more detail. The main thing that impresses me with the last year's iPhone 11 was the night mode, and it's back with the iPhone 12, plus you can now use it on both the wide and the ultra wide sensor. Now this is pretty handy. Now night mode, for those of you who don't know, can detect when light levels are dropping, and you'll be prompted to hold your phone still for up to 12 or 15 seconds depending on the conditions, to brighten the photo through computational understanding over the exposure of the image.
Now let's get on to an area which I feel could definitely be improved, and that is the battery. Now make no mistake, while the A14 Bionic chip is claimed to be 30% more efficient than the A13 Bionic chip, which it is, I feel that it still doesn't warrant a physical decrease in the actual battery capacity of the new lineup of iPhones. Now get this, you go from a 3046 milliamp hour battery in the iPhone 11 Pro to a 2815 milliamp hour battery in the new iPhone 12 Pro. And you see, that's just it. While the new increase in power efficiency is a welcome addition in the 12, I feel like personally it's still an artificial upgrade, because you can't really replace physical battery capacity, no matter how efficient you can make a chip. At least not yet. And this is the thing. Now the reason I say this is because I came from a Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus, which boasted a 4500 milliamp hour battery. And now while that phone is nowhere near as efficient as the new lineup of iPhones, the thing is, that physical increase in battery capacity makes it more than adequate. In fact, it could probably outlast the iPhone 12. And it's just because of the battery capacity alone. Now this was the most notable difference when switching phones for me. It was the fact that I could actually kill this phone in a day with heavy use. And the fact that there was no fast charger included in the box didn't exactly instill that much confidence in me either. And see, this is the thing. Apple claims that, people can just use their old charging bricks, but the problem with that is you'll never be utilizing your new phone's fast charging capabilities. And this is just one of those weird things that, it's just a cash grab. You know how it is, but that's the world we live in. Now, if you're someone who's heavily dependent on 4G or even 5G for that matter, you may find that this phone is lacking in the battery department. Now, in terms of innovation, I definitely think that the new redesign was the right direction to go in for Apple, because between the iPhone 10 and 11, things were kind of getting boring, and at least now you can say that this is kind of a differentiating factor between the new model and the older ones. Now, my thoughts on the iPhone 12 are that it is the most cost-effective way of experiencing the latest and greatest that Apple has to offer. Now, I haven't really talked about 5G much in this video, and that's because, honestly, at this point, it still remains a gimmick for two reasons. The first being coverage, and the second is, honestly, if you're going to implement 5G into your new lineup of phones, then don't give these phones a potato for a battery. Because honestly, you could kill this thing in about 3 to 4 hours with heavy 5G usage. And at that point, it's not even worth it. So all in all, the iPhone 12 is a nice and compact phone. However, there are still things that let it down, like the 60Hz screen, the lack of a fast charging brick, and we definitely cannot forget about the, I'd say, average battery life. But if you're looking to switch to an Apple device or upgrade from an existing one, then I think that it is worth it. Now, if you have an iPhone XS Max or an 11 Pro Max, whatever, if you're just a couple generations behind, I would honestly say that it's not worth the upgrade. Wait for this year's lineup and see how that goes, because at this point, I don't think it's actually worth upgrading. But if you do have an older phone, like an iPhone 8 or 7, anything below, or you're just looking to switch from a much older Android phone, then you know what? The iPhone 12 is your best bet. My name is Prashil. Thank you so much for watching, guys and girls. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.